Just touching on some of the code here, it's fairly simple, so I'll explain it quickly. But instead of setting the radius automatically equal to some radius constant and setting the fill to the constant color, in this case blue, we've put an if conditional in our accessor function to basically make the radius dynamic or dependent on the data. Again, we're letting the data, in this case the bound data represented by D for each circle, drive how the visual representation of our graphic is on the screen. In this case, if the home column corresponds to either team 1 or team 2, so the home country is one team in this game, we return the radius and what I've set here as the multiplier. Again, I create a variable earlier on so I can have a more dynamic size increase. In this case, my multiplier is simply set to be 1.5, which has the effect of creating a radius of 4.5. If you want it exactly 5, I could simply return 5 instead of the radius. But this multiplier let me play around in a more flexible way with the visual representation. And a very similar process for the color, we simply check whether the home team's involved and then return either red or blue. Since we've copied a lot of the code for each of these, we could actually abstract this further into a common function to basically return true or false of whether or not the home team's playing, and then possibly pass in two different values. Again, for sake of clarity, I kept it verbose.